Hello and welcome to another episode all about going through clearing after not being successful with your first choice. So, why was it that you decided to go through clearing and how did you find the experience?
So I didn't get into my first choice of uni. My grades kind of came much lower than expected in my A levels because my dad had a heart attack at the time, and that obviously impacted on my grades quite a bit.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, I didn't get into my first choice. I did get into my second choice, but I didn't really want to go there. I just kind of put it down because it was kind of a guaranteed option just in case things didn't work out. But as I didn't really want to go to that uni, I decided to sort of go through clearing and see what all of my other options were. I was quite lucky in a way. I knew exactly which course I wanted to do, so that narrowed things down a little bit. But yeah, I just looked at the UCAS clearing website to see all the different unis that offered my course through clearing. Noted down their numbers, noted down anywhere that I might potentially want to go, and picked up the phone and started calling.
Yeah. So, what kind of drew you to Hertfordshire, making you choose it as your option? Did you obviously call quite a few, but Hertfordshire you just preferred it?
Yeah, so by the afternoon, I had a couple of different offers from different unis that did offer my course. The thing that drew me to Hertfordshire was its strong background in aerospace engineering. That was my degree, and they obviously have quite a large history behind that. The course has been running very well for a long time. They're quite reputable within that industry. And I'd say that was probably one of the things that drew me to Hertfordshire, as well as the sort of little campus uni.
Yeah.
As much as I enjoy being, in the city as well, especially for like a uni experience, I think for uni having that little campus where, it's kind of like self-sustainable. Really, you don't really need to go out unless you want to. You can if you want. And luckily, the uni had an open day just the weekend after A level results.
Oh,
So I came to see the uni because I hadn't obviously been to the open day before, and the campus was really nice. I got to see some lecturers, some staff from the uni. Obviously, I got to look around the uni as well, see the facilities, and it was a good vibe. I thought it was a really nice place, and could see myself, being there for the next couple of years. So I got the offer on the Thursday of the A level results, and sort of by that evening, I was just mulling over the sort of I think I whittled it down to like three different options, all kind of very different um, unis and different areas of England. Luckily, I knew someone as well, sort of a friend of a friend, a little bit far, but I thought, why not? Like, I can ask them what the uni's like, and they did sort of a similar course as well. So
oh, that's
they, yeah, they advised and said, so it's a pretty good uni. I assume I still had time to change my mind if I wanted to, because the other option I was potentially like that was the sort of second choice if I didn't get in, but I was looking at retaking the year. So if it was somewhere that I really, really didn't like, that would have been my last resort. But luckily that didn't happen.
Did
Yeah.
you know much about how clearing worked and what it was for and kind of how to go about things? Did your school talk about it very much?
Yeah, so I went to a college. I kind of knew in the back of my mind what it was, potentially that it may be something that I have to go through. But I think like before my results, I did do research. I knew that I hadn't done as well as I wanted to in my exams. So the UCAS website is really helpful. So I looked through beforehand, like a couple of weeks before results, to see which unis were sort of offering places in clearing as well. So I guess on the day, it wasn't too shocking. Like it wasn't sort of a last minute panic. I don't know what clearing is. I don't know what to do. I think I was just prepared for that scenario in case it happened.
Yeah.
I'd say it was stressful, but definitely if I didn't know about clearing or how to go about it or what to do if I didn't get in, um, it would have been much worse.
Yeah. So obviously you're happy with your choice to come to Hertfordshire, and you mentioned that you got a first class degree, which is fab. So do you think it's very realistic to say that however you do in A levels is definitely not an accurate representation of how well you're going to do in your degree?
Yeah, absolutely. Looking back on it, you're so young when you're doing your A levels, and so many different things that could be going on in your life. Like, and for me, I had obviously my dad had a really serious health issue that did impact me quite a bit, and that was the reason my grades went down. Obviously, throughout uni, he got better. I was also, in a different environment, in a different headspace. So yeah, I think really it's not the end of the world if you don't do so well in your A levels, and in no way does that dictate that if you didn't do well now, you're never going to do well later. That's absolutely incorrect. I think in a way, actually, if you don't do so well, it makes you work harder later, because you know what it feels like when you don't do so well, or yeah, or maybe you were expecting something and you didn't get that. And I think for me as well, throughout uni, that experience of not getting into my first choice really pushed me to do well in my degree, because every time you have a set of exams, you think, oh, this is all that matters. But after GCSEs, you have your A levels, and then everyone cares about your A level exams. After A levels, you get your degree, and I know it stays. You can't change what grade you got, but at the end of the day, it doesn't mean that you can't go on and do better in a degree or in anything else. So
Yeah. So if there's people that might be watching this and they are obviously clearings going on, I think at Hertfordshire Uni until Wednesday, so that's a few days after results day. If anyone is still mulling over whether to go through clearing or not, is there any advice that you would give them, or just anything to bear in mind?
I'd say just make sure that if you do go through clearing, it's definitely worth just making sure that you really want to go to that uni and do that course. I was very upset that I didn't get into my first choice. I was really, I was looking forward to it. Like,
Yeah.
mentally, you kind of envision yourself in that place. And, I went to the open day, I saw the lecturers and saw the campus, and it was really nice. So it is quite difficult to get past that sometimes, but I'm really grateful for the fact that I did get the opportunity to still go to another uni which offered my degree. I didn't have to compromise on the course I did. I really think in hindsight that things do work out for the best. And in that moment, in that time, you're so sort of stuck in that moment that you don't perhaps you don't realize. Personally, I think it would have been a struggle if I decided to retake the year. I would recommend, if you do get a place to go to uni, somewhere you wouldn't mind going, and the course that you want to do, I would recommend just going for it, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. I didn't get into my first choice either. And Hertfordshire was my insurance, and I had an unconditional for it. But if it wasn't somewhere that I did want to go, then I definitely would have gone through clearing to find somewhere else, because especially if you are moving away and not being at home, you do need to make sure that it's an environment you actually want to spend time in, because that will impact obviously like how well you do. If you really don't like it there, you just won't want to be there ever, will you?
This year, with potentially less international students and that sort of thing, I really think it is the year for students to go to uni if that's what they want to do. Like, now is the perfect time to do it.
That's crazy. I didn't even think about the prospect of having less international students. That hasn't even crossed my mind yet.
I think everyone saw the news that a lot of students didn't get the grades that they were expecting. So, I definitely think that clearing this year was probably much larger than it has been previously. It's a shame for those that didn't get the grades they wanted, but I really hope they sort of pick up the phones and still find somewhere else that they would like to go to.
Yeah, it's completely out of their hands. I can't imagine how frustrating that must feel.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like it's a double whammy, not getting the grades, on top of that having to find other unis if your uni won't take you. So, and like you say, it's not in their hands. They didn't get to sit their exams, they didn't get to prove what they were capable of. So yeah, I read that 40% of students got lower than what they were expecting, which is massive. Like, definitely, you know, recommend that if you do get into uni this year, take the opportunity with both hands, really. You never know what that can turn into in the future. Like, I did a study abroad and I went to Australia because I met a friend who had been to Australia. Like, well, if I never came to this uni, I would have never met that person. I wouldn't have gone to Australia. Yeah, I think things just tend to work out.
I'd like to say thank you to Mansi for sharing her experience, and I hope you found it useful.